let's check in with our fellows at the Jeffrey Epstein Experience, and after this, I'll probably call it
a podcast. But that's my job. I don't know how many conversations
I do love me an American Redact video.
I'd be having with people who I was politically opposed to or ideologically opposed to.
Sorry, jump scare alert. RFK Jr.
How they think. I don't know how many opportunities I would ever even get to do that.
What you're doing is so important, and now there's 1,000.
That's our Department of Health representative right there, guys. Just a beacon of health. He's basically just TRT and I don't know, hot dog juice at this point.
Really good.
Like TRT hot dog juice, like inside of a hot dog skin, though.
Podcast.
Alright, so it looks like Joe Question Everything Rogan has, yet again, invited someone onto his show who was once directly connected with Epstein, and failed to mention the Epstein connection, or even the files in general during the entire 2.5-hour podcast.
He cannot
which is just
talk
pretty
about
interesting, being that Joe Rogan spoke about that topic with every single one of his guests since the files were released about a month ago, including RFK Jr.'s very own wife, Cheryl Hines.
I did not know that this lady, by the way, was RFK's wife.
Including RFK Jr.
I only knew her from that one show. Oh my god, what's it called? The Larry David Show. Okay, I'll think of it.
Very own wife, Cheryl Hines. But I guess when a guy who admitted to flying on Epstein's planes multiple times comes onto the show, Joe suddenly loses interest in the largest conspiracy.
My brain's leaking like RFK's.
Drop of the decade, and has more pressing issues to talk about with a guy who once personally knew Jeffrey Epstein.
And the fact that people on the left weren't outraged when they read the Twitter files and found out how much involvement there was in silencing real
the Twitter files. Dude, get over it. So that was like a minor news story like 5 years ago. Like, who cares about the Twitter files?
To be removed from Instagram, I lost 1 million followers.
Insane.
And so this is most likely done by design, as Joe's show has become more and more like a government-sanctioned propaganda factory. It's almost like there's a set of bullet points Joe's sticking to here to make RFK Jr. look good, and it's completely pathetic. Because before the Epstein files dropped, RFK Jr. was completely fine with talking about his past flights with Epstein and how he went fossil hunting with a guy back in the 90s, as his defense was...
This is the funniest thumbnail.
And how he went fossil hunting with a
did he make this? Did American read this? Is hilarious.
Guy back in the 90s, as his defense was always that nobody knew about Epstein's nefarious ways before 2006.
Okay, but give the context, obviously, to the Epstein thing, because you basically got out ahead of the...
So first of all, I'm in New York for most of my life.
Yeah.
So, and you run into everybody in New York. I mean, I knew Harvey Weinstein. I knew Roger Ailes. I knew O.J. Simpson came to my house. Bill Cosby came to my house.
You also knew good people.
Yeah, I did know a lot of them, but, you don't know these people until all this...
Wait, what?
He came to my house.
You also knew good people.
Yeah, he's like, stop talking about it. It's like, well, there was this rapist who came to my house. There was this rapist who came to my house. There was this rapist that came to my house. Like, dude, yeah, you knew good people too, right? Like all your friends weren't rapists, right?
I did know a lot of them, but, you don't know these people are swamp creatures until all this stuff comes out. My plane rides with Jeffrey Epstein, I took 2 plane rides with him. My wife knew his girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, and of course, I ran across Jeffrey Epstein at parties, at fundraisers.
They're all in the same club, dude.
Fundraiser in New York.
So if this JRE podcast was done before the files dropped, RFK would have certainly brought up the connection himself right away. But the fact that neither of them talked about perhaps the biggest headline of the year, even for a second, really raises some questions. And it just makes this email chain in the Epstein files that much creepier, where Jeffrey, after learning that RFK Jr.'s previous wife was found hanging in her backyard, responded to that message with whoops. So for Joe to not even question that, or for
Whoops.
RFK Jr. to not even bring whoops. So for
Oops. That's a big oops, dude. Mary Kennedy found dead in her backyard. Whoops. That's great.
much creepier, where Jeffrey, after learning that RFK Jr.'s previous wife was found hanging in her backyard, responded to that message with whoops. So for Joe to not even question that, or for RFK Jr. to not even bring it up and clear the air like he did so gleefully before, certainly makes everything look a little more dark. Like, what on earth could...
The amount of weird deaths surrounding Epstein as well before, like, you know, back in the day of, like, random, like, people like this just being found dead or whatever, you know, something that probably should have been looked into a while ago, but...
whoops even mean? You know, I guess on the Jeffrey Epstein Experience podcast, they just don't talk about that sort of thing anymore. Instead, they'd rather spend time talking about how great the United States of America is, and how much better we are than
Are they
the
in
UK.
army fatigues, dude? Like, what?
Where RFK Jr.
Isn't that stolen valor? Were they stealing valor right there?
and Rogan spent some time talking about the UK's arrests over social media posts, which is completely ironic being that the UK is also the only country to actually arrest someone.
Also, we arrest people for our social media posts. We detain people for our social media posts, which is worse than an arrest because then you're not like obligated all of the same procedures that an American citizen does.
Connected to the Epstein files.
12,000 arrests is crazy. That's a crazy amount of people go to jail for social media posts.
The framers of the Constitution, free speech was everything to them, and they put it in the first.
I do not
Amendment,
understand free speech, dude.
Rights and guarantees were dependent on it. If you have a government that can silence its opponents, it has a license.
And again, we're doing the same shit.
monstrosity.
I mean, when you're living in a world where the government has the power to dictate what's real and
Think,
what's not
Joe.
real, and they don't
Think,
have an
wait, the
obligation to be
wheel's
correct,
turning.
you got a real problem.
The wheel's turning.
There's no consequences for them being
It's
correct,
turning.
and they
He's coming.
silence
He's
correct
turned woke. He's
speech.
getting it.
They've gotten away with something that's real slippery and real dangerous. And when there's a lot of money involved and a lot of businesses involved,
He got it. He got it. I was waiting for him to break though. I was waiting for him to like say something stupid at the end of it, but from that one clip, I guess Joe Rogan finally understands.
Other government has the power to dictate what's real and not real, and has no obligation to be correct. You know, it's almost like Joe's describing his beloved administration to a T here, and the iron grip it has on his very podcast. But of course he won't bring that up with someone who's literally in the administration and in the files. I mean, Joe's even admitted on his podcast recently that he's been losing sleep over everything that's happening, almost as if he's realizing in real time how much of a bad decision it was to defend these guys to...
I can't really tell how stupid Joe Rogan is. Like, I can't tell like how much he is actually aware that all of his friends now are pedophile billionaires, and like he's, you know, like a bad guy for associating with them, or if he is like straight up just like unable to like form a critical thought and like think like and even figure that out, like think for 1 second that, oh, he might be a part of the same club.
Tooth and nail. Like, there's just no way to make them look good anymore. But unlike Tim Dillon and Andrew Schultz, who have actually flip-flopped recently and started calling out everything wrong that the current administration is doing, from Kash Patel burning taxpayers' money on vacation trips to Milan, to Pam Bondi only releasing half the files, and Peter Attia stepping down from CBS due to his ties to Epstein, Joe hasn't mentioned any of that because he's simply in this thing way deeper than his other comedian pals. I mean, Joe's allegedly having phone calls with Trump every other week these days. So he's in past the point of no return, and is fully compromised at this point. So as a result, he's now losing sleep over it.
That's the
I don't
guy
know,
I
I just
watch.
get scared by AI clips on Instagram.
Bro, I'm
but
scared
it's
of
like,
everything. I have to fucking stay offline.
I know.
I'm reading too much of the news, and it's overwhelming me. Like sometimes at nighttime, like I can't wind down.
Yeah.
It's just like there's too much news.
There's
too much
madness.
news.
We're about to go to war with Iran.
I know.
Like
We're already there.
Everyone's eating beef jerky.
He's
and
talking about
pizza.
us.
Like, what are these? What the fuck is pizza?
I know.
You know, how far does this go? How come this never got released before? Like, what is happening?
That's a good point, by the way. That's something that, yeah, it should have been released a long time ago. Like, and the Democrats should have released it when Biden was in charge. But to be fair, like, Biden was basically unconscious his entire presidency, so like he might not have even known that they existed.
Deep down inside, Joe desperately wants to call out everything wrong with the Trump administration, just like Andrew Schultz and Tim Dillon are right now. But being that Joe's puppet strings are
don't believe them, by the way. Those two people, like, they're just charlatans. They'll just go wherever the wind blows. That's where they'll be.
And another, he really just can't. Like, he doesn't push back on anything RFK Jr. says in this entire podcast. He really just gives him a smooth joyride like the rest of the pro-war officials he's had on recently. So, being that his free speech is ironically being suppressed in these particular podcast episodes...
Dude, 2013 was a different time. Let me pull that back up again. Hopefully someone's suggesting authorization now for Iran. The Congress would do it first, and also Jeffrey Epstein. I've said this before, and I said it again. I think he was like borderline retarded. Like, I don't know 100%, but like I've heard him talk so many times. He is very, very dumb, or maybe he's dyslexic or something. But like, I don't know. But also, this is just like so quaint. Like, hopefully someone suggests getting authorization now for Iran. Like, remember back when people, even the billionaires, thought you had to get authorization from Congress to go to war with Iran? Those were the days.
That his free speech is ironically being suppressed in these particular podcast episodes. As a result, Joe's been taking his anger out on easier targets lately, like poor Jamie Vernon, for example, who's the producer of the show and at one point in time would fact-check Joe on just about everything, actually fell victim to one of Joe's temper tantrums recently when he tried to fact-check Joe's idiotic belief that the players in the recent Super Bowl...
I kept thinking they were saying fat check. I was like, what are they talking? They're saying fact check.
Actually lost money after the championship because of a supposed jock tax. And so when Jamie tries to fact check him on this, Joe just gets...
Wait, what? Sorry, I wasn't paying enough attention to this. I was too focused on fat check.
Like poor Jamie Vernon, for example, who's the producer of the show and at one point in time would fact-check Joe on just about everything, actually fell victim to one of Joe's temper tantrums recently when he tried to fact-check Joe's idiotic belief that the players in the recent Super Bowl actually lost money after the championship because of a supposed jock tax.
What?
And so when Jamie tries to fact-check
How would
him on
anybody
this,
believe that? How does any... dude, how are people this stupid? Like, how does anyone hear that and not think that this is just obviously like slopaganda? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Super furious with him.
Professionally.
Did you see what they just did to the guys that won the Super Bowl? You see the jock tax?
Yeah.
Jamie, you see the jock tax?
Yeah, it's not a new thing, though.
I understand.
It's not?
I understand, but but it's specific to California.
What? Okay, let's see
and
what they say
this
about
jock
this.
tax in California, they were some of the players lost money playing.
The reason that I immediately clock this as bullshit is because it is just like so like you know a bunch of white men who will just hear that and get, well, I guess just men probably in general, but who will hear that and be like, how dare they tax us? Like, we're supposed to be masculine. We're supposed to be strong and alpha. That's the way the world is. And all of them are like, you know, just sitting at their computer, like keyboard warriors haven't set foot outside in like 10 years. But like that, that they would just see that and be like, oh, it's like they just hate men for being men or whatever. And like, if you can't hear that and just be like, obviously this is fake, like obviously this is just perfectly designed to make a certain subsect of the American population angry, like, I don't know, you gotta crawl out of whatever hole you're living in, man. It's gotta be lonely down
They had
there.
to pay. Oh no, it is true.
I don't think so.
No, it is true. I went it through AI last night. No, it was in. They pulled it up on Grok,
I know.
and people analyzed
Grok.
it.
Grok has never told a lie. All hail Grok.
It's based. No, Jamie. Jamie. It's based on the 7
Based.
days that they had to be there. So you have to pay a fee based on the 7 days, dependent upon what your salary is.
They played a game
So
there
it's a
in
percentage.
January, though, too.
Okay.
Maybe this year.
Okay, with whatever. Well, the Super Bowl.
Whatever.
Specifically, these guys. Jamie's so funny.
This is not, I know, but this is one of those things that's not real.
What do you mean? I told you it was wrong.
I read it through Grok. How can you tell me it's not real? Grok said it was real.
Last night, he made $178,000 for the Super Bowl. He had to pay $200.
Did you know that Grok's used by the military? Would they use a system that like hallucinates and just makes up shit?
$49,000 in tax. I'm pretty sure those are the numbers. And it's based on the fact that he was there for 7
How much?
I'm pretty sure those pay $249,000 in tax. I'm pretty sure those are the numbers. And it's based on the fact that he
What
was there for
percent is
7
that?
days.
Joe's also been taking his anger out on Mark Maron recently too, who's a comedian who called Joe out on several different podcasts last year. And he recently did so again, which I just covered on my Patreon. So real quick here, if you want to support the channel, click the link down below and check that video out. Because it really shows you how Joe's displacing his frustration with the administration on easier targets now. I mean, he just cannot give guys like RFK Jr. any form of criticism, as he's entirely
His face is
cooked to a
melting.
crisp at this very point in time. And you know, now that we're at a
And he's wearing a Black Rifle coffee shirt. My God, dude. Like, it's just... I assume that's the Black Rifle coffee or whatever, that conservative coffee brand that spun up. Is that even still around?
cooked to a crisp at this very point in time. And you know, now that we're at a full-scale war with Iran...
That is what that is, right? Black Rifle coffee. Veteran founded. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just veteran founded. Maybe I'm getting it confused with a like that Chud coffee brand. I can't remember what it was. If it's just veteran founded, that's fine. But
And you really wonder what Joe's gonna say about it, if he even will at all. Because once upon a time, not too long ago, Joe was bought in on Trump being a peaceful, anti-war president that
The
would bring
most
peace
peaceful?
to the entire world. Like after Trump won the election, Joe would just go on and on with his guests about how
look at Barron, dude. Look at Barron. He's like, dude, I can't with this guy. He's literally looks like Slender Man. Like this.
Trump wanted to end all...
Also, stop with rich people, man. They always pull their hair back. So much oil.
wars in the world.
That haircut, that haircut's about to go up 50% with how much like the oil prices are going to skyrocket.
Well, it seems to be a part of what he wants to accomplish in these 4 years. Is that he wants to go down as having made significant change in the world in a positive direction.
Well, he's got part of that down. He did make significant change in the world. It's just not a positive direction.
Whether people want to admit
We
it or
are?
not.
That's part of the problem because of narratives.
That's it. You know, peace between India and Pakistan doesn't
Pakistan's so peaceful right now. I think they're at war with Afghanistan.
fit in the Democratic Party's narrative that
Right.
Donald Trump is a warmonger. He's not a warmonger.
Whoa.
So now that Trump's doing a full-blown attack on Iran at this very moment, you wonder if Rogan will have anything critical to say about that decision.
I'm curious. I'm curious if he's going to even mention it or if he's just going to pretend like we're not at war with Iran.
Since, as you just saw, he was once under the assumption that Trump was a peace-first president. And so, just to save you guys some time, spoiler alert, he probably won't. Especially since the attack happened over the
probably won't.
weekend, which conveniently gives Joe just enough time to gather all the bullet points on why it's actually a good thing that we're going to war. So even though Joe probably hates that Trump's contradicting
Is this
everything
real?
he campaigned with,
Stolen
Joe
valor,
really
man.
can't speak up about it, and will indeed be taking out that frustration on innocent people like he has been doing more of recently. Look, I don't know if you guys saw this
Where are my chuds at? They gotta go get him for stolen valor.
or not, but just the other week, Joe lost his cool with his guest, Roger Avery, who was simply trying to entertain the fun little conspiracy theory that the Earth is flat, which is completely
so
ridiculous
fun.
nowadays and has been debunked several times, but it was almost like Roger Avery thought Joe would entertain it at least a little bit.
Take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt, but the big one, the biggest
Big
conspiracy theory that freaks
The
everybody
biggest.
out is flat Earth. Now, I don't know what the Earth is, but
I don't know what the
the
Earth is.
testimony of the eyes. It
I
is
mean,
flat.
that's true. Like, what is the Earth? Like, you could go real, hyper real. It's like a ball of, asteroids that collided billions of years ago and eventually got big enough to become, a molten ball of rock that eventually filled with an atmosphere and rain and water, and then, land, and then a bunch of animals, and then us. Like, that's like the hyper real version of Earth, but like, so like metaphysical, man.
And there is very little chance that I will ever in my life, or
I don't
most
know what
of
I'm
us
talking
will
about.
ever in our life experience anything other than what is effectively
To be fair, he doesn't know what he's talking about either.
flat Earth.
But being that Joe's completely turned sour nowadays, he instantly shuts down Roger Avery in a pretty tense and awkward way,
Let's
interrupting
hear this.
him all over the place and in general being a negative Nancy about the entire thing.
From my perspective in life, it is nothing but it's a flat Earth.
But what about travel routes? Like, what about when they fly over
Well,
Antarctica? What if they?
Well, they don't fly over.
But you can
Antarctica.
watch the sun rise and fall.
They
as
they
you
don't even
fly.
they don't even fly from
You can
Cape down to
predict
Buenos
it.
Aires.
Joe Rogan's, he's
They
being such a
travel-
party
they travel
pooper.
up.
Session of the
Joe Rogan's like world of conspiracies that he's allowed to. If he's not, I don't understand why he doesn't entertain this. Like, this is a perfect thing to talk about, to like not have to talk about the Epstein files. He should be loving this shit.
They
equinoxes.
travel up into the other hemisphere and like land in London or something, and then travel back down whenever you're doing a flight across the Atlantic. And so, like, when you look at it on a flat Earth map, and there are
but
plenty
there's
of them,
satellite photographs of Earth from space.
those are all cartoons.
What are you
Those
talking about?
I'm saying that even the NASA, the guys who actually do those composites, those are composite imagery of. Listen, I am not saying that.
But it seems like
It
you're saying
sounds like you're saying it
possibly
there.
flat.
I'm saying experientially.
Right,
From
but
your
that's a scale.
from your daily
That's such a little
scale.
sourpuss nowadays.
We're a tiny
Joe
little
Rogan.
thing on an enormous thing.
Correct.
But snipers have to calculate for the curvature of the Earth when they shoot.
Only the curvature of the landscape that they're on.
Right.
in
Why
that
do you think the
moment.
landscape curves?
The landscape doesn't curve. It is a mountainous and uneven.
Not always.
uneven,
no. On flat plains, you have to do the same thing.
well,
if you're making a long shot over a flat area, like if you had to shoot.
Dude, he's really,
Why do- why-
he
why-
really like, I think he hates this dude. Why does he hate this guy so much? He's being such a like little negative boyo.
Why don't pilots make adjustments?
I'm
for-
not a pilot. I don't know, but
Yeah,
but I do
that's-
know that when you look at
navigation maps
the
always
film
say
from the space station,
presume a flat Earth.
when you look at the film
f-
from
a
the
flat
space
surface.
station, you see an Earth that's not just round but spinning.
So yeah, pretty out of character for Joe to just out of nowhere shut down a fun little topic that Roger Avery, of all people, wanted to semi-jokingly talk to Joe about. It's almost like there's something that Joe's battling on the inside here, and this little internal war he's having has in turn made him absolutely zero fun to be around or even talk to.
That'd be fun
This
to
is
watch.
live footage from the space
And
station.
I'm saying that
you
that's
can
lens.
clearly.
And I'm saying that's lens curvature, and that what you're actually seeing.
Why do you think that's lens
and
curvature?
that what you're seeing is horizon.
So what you're talking about is like
I'm saying
a
if I'm
fisheye
trying
lens.
to provoke you, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but let's not do that right now because I don't want you to be completely fucking insane. Because this is a round body, just like the moon, just like Mars, just like Jupiter, just like Uranus.
That
all
appears.
the ones that
that
How does
appears
anybody
in
watch
both-
this
but
anymore,
in-
man?
But in your practical life experience, you have to accept a certain amount of faith.
But
I mean,
that's-
maybe it's just the
at
worst
any moment,
aspects,
well,
or
they-
like the most negative aspects of it, but like this is so boring.
understand
must-
the precession of the
That you have to believe.
equinoxes.
So just an overall pretty disappointing podcast that a lot of people weren't too surprised by. Like Joe talked to RFK Jr. just like he talked to Epstein's old private chef, Adam Perry Lang, as he failed to mention the files or anyone involved in them even once, which
Of course
more and
not.
more seems to be
Joe
by
Rogan's a part of the club.
design. Like as every episode passes, Joe just seems more and more like a state-run right-wing media outlet that censors way more than he would have in the past.
Yeah, he's an
That's the
asset.
entire
He's an
essence
asset of the
his
State
show now.
Department.
So
Like,
much so that
duh.
it's even transferred over to his official subreddit. So real quick here, I'd just like to give a big shame on you to all the moderators there, as they're now banning anybody talking about politics and Joe's connections with these nefarious figures. I mean, the unnecessary
Yeah,
bans
they're
there
getting
are
the live stream fails treatment over there on that
completely out of
subreddit.
control. And it's almost like the mods there are directly on Joe's payroll. And honestly, I hope that's the case. Because if
they
they
might
aren't,
be.
then they're doing some of the most pathetic shoe-licking for free. Like Reddit mods have always been notorious power trippers, but it's just on a whole other level on that sub right now. And as a result, they're losing members just as fast as Joe is now too. Like I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but on all the charts except for Spotify's, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast sits at
Number 5. He's fallen off.
So he's definitely plateauing. If
Pod Save America is beating you, Joe. Those libs, they're beating the shit out of you. You gotta, you gotta step it up. You gotta beat them.
I covered that topic more on Patreon, so again, go check that out and support the channel if you want. But with that being said, thanks so much for watching.
Thank you,
War is
American
broken
Reader.
out. It is